It is 9 o'clock. I hereby call this meeting to order. We need approval of today's agenda, which is a revised agenda, and I hope all commissioners notice that. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed, approved the agenda. Approval of minutes.
I make the motion, we approve.
Okay, and we have two sets. Do they have to be done separately?
You can do them together.
Okay. We have a set for the regular meeting and then the Eldred non-appeal meeting. It's been moved to approve the minutes of those meetings.
I move.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so that carries. All right, new business.
And just for your reference, with the approval of the appeal hearing minutes, there's an order that Chair Schertz will sign off on for,
Right, okay, I'm sorry.
for them as well. So
You told me.
I did. That's okay. That's why I'm here.
It usually takes twice before it soaks in, you know. All right, police chief, establish recruitment process.
So the police chief, in case you haven't heard, Police Chief Sikorsky has notified the city that he'll be retiring as of August 29th. The police chief position is a pretty critical position, not only to the city and the police department, but also to our community. So because of that, we would like to start the process immediately, pending your approval of this testing process. So in your packets, there's a memo that outlines the process that we'd like to undertake. The process includes supplemental essay questions as part of the application process, a phone interview, and then a multi-panel interview with city leadership, police department personnel, and members of the community. So after the completion of that process, similar to other civil service processes, the list would come back for your approval. We anticipate that in July. And then from there, City Administrator Corey Spiegel would hire from that list. So I would ask for your approval of the testing process today.
I
Okay.
move approval of the testing process as outlined.
Second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved.
Thank you. I've got the next one as well. So police chief update to minimum qualifications. As part of the preparations for the testing process, we looked at the job description and have a few updates to minimum qualifications. You'll see we are including a completion of polygraph examination for external candidates if we would go that route. A little cleanup language as far as certification by the State of Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. And then we've cleaned up some of the language for training and certifications. Still similar requirements, but just some language cleanup. So they would have to comply with all department required training and certifications similar to other sworn officers. So I would ask for your approval of those minimum qualification updates.
Okay.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the qualifications. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, I have an answer.
Is the police chief usually a internal promotion, or is it typically from outside, or?
You mean historically or by state law?
Historically, as well as your city?
Do you want to take that one?
Do they get a preference? Do they get a preference if you're an internal candidate?
First to go to the administrator. Historically, it's been who is the best candidate. So we've had external candidates in both police and fire in the last decade. We've had internal candidates in both cases. So the process, and my perspective is, I've known Chief Sikorsky has planned to retire for several years. And so we've been working with prospective internal candidates to ensure that they are ready for the process. But our organizational culture for department heads is to run a national recruitment and make sure we pick the best candidate for the community. So the answer is both. It just depends.
So now, usually, lower ranks are typically promotions. So just a chief,
The chief is the only position where we can even recruit externally unless there is no internal option.
Chapter 400 is specific that the police chief and fire chief are accept both external and internal candidates.
thank you.
I think we're ready for the natural
That was my
resources.
question. I'd rather go national, but yep, I would think the internal would be the natural way to go. Okay, Natural Resources Heavy Equipment Operator, update to minimum qualifications.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
So I'm actually requesting your approval to update the CDL requirements for this position. Currently, applicants must have a Class A CDL, which if you remember is the highest class of CDL. However, to have a greater applicant pool and allow more people to have the opportunity for this position, we would like to update this to a Class B at the time of application and allow those candidates or whoever is hired 90 days to obtain that Class A. This is a promotional position, and typically the positions below this do need a Class B, so it'd be natural progression into this position to allow them 90 days. Also, we'd be removing the Atssa certification. This certification is for traffic control, which is typically done by our Science Division of Public Works. And then you may remember from previous meetings that all CDL personnel are required by law and are subject to a random drug and alcohol test or testing. So we would update that language to that to the requirements.
So, since it's a promotional one,
Yes.
person has a Class B, and they receive the job, so they are promoted to this position, but they can't really do the position until they get their Class A.
Correct, yes. I take that back. They can do the position, they would just not be able to drive or operate some of the equipment needed. However, we do have other staff in other divisions that would be able to assist within that 90-day period if need be.
I guess, what is the difference between a B and an A?
Sure. Actually, Christina is our expert on that.
So the simplest way to describe it is that an A can operate any vehicle whatsoever, all heavy equipment, any vehicle that's a semi-tractor trailer. B simply is, it's usually just certain vehicles of a certain size.
Okay, so it's like a straight truck as opposed to a semi.
Correct.
Okay. So if there's no questions, I'll move on, okay? So next is our turf tech and our parks department. So we are asking to add a high school diploma or equivalent since this position does require the basic math, reading, and writing skills that are needed at a high school level. Also, we would like to update the license requirement to the candidate having a driver's license at the time of application. This is an entry-level position, so typically our entry-level candidates have not had that opportunity to obtain their CDL. So in this position, they would be required to obtain that CDL with the proper endorsements within 6 months of hire. And then again, we would go ahead and update the CDL language for the drug and alcohol testing. Okay? Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I'll read that on top. As we may have our meetings and you come with changes, and it seems like we're making progress in updating all the rules we operate under, are these basically directed from federal or state and then also local, or a combination of everything as you look at different positions?
Sure, it's a combination of everything. So federal requirements, state requirements, and then looking at the positions below this as
So a
well.
lot of it puts us more in line with what's going on around us nationally and all that.
Correct. Okay, any questions? Okay,
So I would ask for a motion to approve the minimum qualification updates for the natural resources heavy equipment operator and the turf technician.
Entertain a motion to approve both.
I make the motion.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve changes C and D. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. They're approved. Now we're going too fast today.
Speedy Gonzalez.
I'm sure everybody wants to stay longer. Old business. Any old business? Certification lists. All right.
it's an easy one today. So today we have our street heavy equipment operator. This is a promotional in our street division of Public Works. This exam was a 30-70 split. Our list is ready for certification. You can see our salary range, and this is part of our Teamsters Union. So for minimum qualifications, candidates do need 3 years of experience operating specialized construction equipment or 2 years of experience plus specialized training in the operation of similar equipment. And then have their Class B, but at the time of application, and then be able to obtain their Class A with endorsements within 6 months. So we had 19 applicants. 19 of those candidates were qualified and they were invited to the practical. One candidate did score below 70%. Then those 18 applicants that passed the practical were invited to the interview. 17 candidates passed the interview, one did score below 70%. And then per Chapter 400, only 10 candidates are allowed on the certification list for promotional positions. And then we have our stats.
And the 10 are the people who scored the highest.
The highest, you are correct, yes. Yes.
I noticed the list doesn't include much in the way of minorities. Have we been trying to get some?
Definitely. So that is definitely a goal of ours. We are working along, we continue to work and progress in that area, yes.
And I noticed there are no women. Is this not a job women would do?
So this is a promotional position, so only internal applicants can apply. So generally speaking, as of right now, I don't know the stats on how many women are that would qualify for this position that are currently working.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and that is it.
Motion approved. I will entertain a motion to approve. Let's put it that way.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
We don't have anything else?
Wow.
Come up with something? Okay. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make the motion to adjourn.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned
Thank you.
after Friday.